We're 5 the zone. Brett Doherty, Don Davenport, Ron Slay. You okay over there?
Hey, man, I'm telling y'all, the best things that are ever invented are cameras outside of your home. Especially when
there's ice.
Dude, my
Is
daughter.
she okay?
She bust out laughing when I said, "Are you okay?" So she just first step out the door. She saw the ice and slipped and fell.
Oh no!
I mean, food went everywhere. Oh, that's.
I love that you're enjoying this so much.
Hey, man,
Is she okay?
She said she okay.
Okay, good.
I guess.
All right.
If she laughed, somebody else went down. Let me see if they fell. You can hear the ice. You can hear the ice crunch.
In the meantime,
in between that.
Peace.
Jackson Lampley sitting here, Tennessee offensive lineman for the last 5 seasons. Has another year of eligibility left. Is this the last of the COVID year? Y'all know?
I think it is.
This is the last super senior year.
The last super senior year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it ended with 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Jackson, what's up? How are you?
I'm great. How are y'all? Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Haven't been on here since I signed with Tennessee, actually, about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's great to be here.
You were the first
Good to have you
commitment
back.
in your class, right?
I was. And I had kind of silently committed in January of that year, but really the day after signing day, I felt like that was the best time to kind of announce it, and I really wanted to be the first commit of the class. Somebody in-state kid, grew up loving the Vols, and so that was really the biggest thing for me is trying to be that first commit, and I have no regrets about it. It's been great.
So what was the recruiting process like for you when you know what you kind of want to do? Do you branch out? Were you brainwashed by your dad who also played offensive line for the Tennessee Vols?
Who was the coach?
Well, when I first
that's a great question.
Yeah,
when I
because I
first
bet
got
you were
offered-
recruited by a couple, right?
Well, when I first got offered by Tennessee, it was Butch Jones.
Yeah.
And I signed with Coach Pruitt, but no, I mean, Coach Jones offered me my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
And that was my first offer. And I kind of wanted to commit pretty soon after that, growing up just loving the Vols. And my dad was like, hey, wait a minute, let's look at some other schools. And for Babs over here, I almost went to Auburn.
Attaboy, see?
But, luckily I ended up, making the decision that was best for me and kind of where I felt like I needed to be, which was Tennessee. So there you go.
That's all right. He recognized how great Auburn is, too.
So,
the Vols.
So
You did the right thing. You did the right thing.
So your dad is Brad Lampley, who is an attorney in town and played for Tennessee. Did he put a ton of pressure on you to stay true to the orange and white?
Not really. It's kind of funny because
Did he get Peyton to call you or anything like that?
No, I wish. I would have been pretty cool. But
Come on, Dad.
no, even when I did talk to Peyton, though, he was always saying, hey, make the decision that's best for you. And so was my dad. And so I had a really strong support staff around me. And honestly, when Coach Pruitt, I got hired at Tennessee, it took one visit, hanging out with guys like Trey Smith and Ollie Lane and my former high school teammate Ty Chandler and all those guys. I felt like that was really home for me, and it's been a great decision.
How much does that weigh on your decision? Because I know personally for me, I didn't take any other visits because of that. Coming from Pearl-Cohn, we had John Henderson up there, Reggie Ridley, Buck Fitzgerald. Like, everybody went. I was like, man, seemed like that's where I belong.
Except for that one night.
Go. Yeah, that one night when almost was a Wildcat. But.
No,
He likes to just slide that in there.
Yeah.
There was one night where he was like, hey, y'all better come talk to me because
Ain't no more blood pumping orange now.
he slipped that in over the summer when I hung out with him. But no, it did kind of weigh a little bit just because, I always kind of thought, what would 8-year-old me want to do? Right. And, back when I was in elementary school, the two top teams in America were Florida and Alabama. And so growing up as a Tennessee fan, and everybody's kind of a bandwagon, it was terrible, because you go to school and everybody's sitting there and just hating on the Vols, when they're going 5-7 and Florida and Bama are playing each other SEC championship each year. But I mean, that was one thing, though, I really did take into consideration. But honestly, just the entire fit and the guys in the locker room are really what made the decision for me back then.
Jackson Lampley with us. You do have a 6-year option here, and it's such a weird environment now, and you've kind of rolled through it and seen the change and the transfer portal and guys just leaving with a year of eligibility left and all of those things. How wild of an experience has that side of it been, not just the football on Saturday side?
Yeah, NIL's gotten a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you hear about guys like when NIL first came out, you just hear about guys making, $200 doing a deal for like crystals or something like that. But nowadays, you hear about guys making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that does weigh on some people.
There's a guy on your team.
I know. I'll get to him later, but it's just NIL has just gotten so big and just so massive. It really is playing into college football, and I think with a lot of these schools that you can tell who truly cares the most about it, and kind of also who has the most money, and that does do a lot in recruiting. But for transfer portal, I mean that never really was a thing for me.
Okay.
So
that part of it didn't enter into your decision on what to do with this 6th year.
No.
So it was either I'm done or I'm going back to Tennessee.
It was pretty much that. I was. Again, I mean, like I said, I mean, transfer portal wasn't a big thing, but it is something you could kind of think about,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, let's go somewhere smaller or try to get some NIL for somewhere else. But really, I've always known that Tennessee's home, and it will always be home, and which is why I am absolutely blessed to say that for my 6th and final year of college football, I am returning to the University of Tennessee to play my final season.
Let's go, baby.
There it is, Jackson
Let's
Lampley
go, baby.
coming back to Tennessee for a 6th and final season. Man, congratulations. What a ride, man. I mean, you talked about like 8-year-old you. I think about 8-year-old me and what I would have given to have this opportunity. I know it's been such a blessing for you.
It has. I mean, it's thing is too is that heading into my whole recruitment process. I mean, Tennessee, I'm not going to lie, was struggling a little bit. Coaching changes and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I'd always wanted to be a part of the change at Tennessee. And that was one of the things I would constantly talk about, when I was getting recruited. And, I thought it might have happened. It would happen a little bit earlier than it did. But fortunately for the past 3 years, Coach Heupel comes in and absolutely changes the entire program. Everybody's out here playing for each other nowadays. And we've really been blessed to be a part of this change. I mean, getting to beat Florida and Alabama in 2022 and winning a Orange Bowl and a Citrus Bowl against the Iowa Hawkeyes. I mean that was been really special for me, and this program couldn't be headed in a better direction.
So you talk about that. What is the talk within this team about the potential for next year?
Well, obviously, I mean, a lot of people can kind of see it. You saw, number 8 Nico, doing really well against Iowa, and he has got just a whole lot of potential, especially as a true freshman quarterback. But we still have a lot of guys coming back like Brew McCoy and John Campbell and Dane Davis and Cooper Mays and. On the defensive side of the ball, you have, Amari Thomas and Elijah Simmons, but really we all do still see the potential that this program has. We're not done yet. We're even though we won a Orange Bowl a few years ago and beat Alabama, we're still not satisfied with that, and we're trying to head to the playoffs this season and hopefully win a national championship.
Can you say Nico's last name?
Yamaleava. I think I got that right.
Okay.
Hey, you just said that
there you
kinda
go.
fast,
That's
like-
right.
Wow.
That's the key. You got to say it fast.
Yeah, just
Well,
get it
if
on
I
out
said
the
it
way.
slow, I think I would have butchered it a little bit more.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So,
You got to let it roll
That's
out.
what when I got into radio, I worked with a guy named Bob Bell, who's a legend in this town, and he told me that. He said, if you don't know, say it fast.
Yep. There you go.
You'll at least sound confident.
How special is that guy?
he's pretty special. I mean, to kind of talk about him and his leadership. I mean, we knew about 2 weeks before all the fans did that Joe was not going to be playing in the game and that Nico was. And so, we all kind of got around him and we're like, well, we've got to make sure this guy plays the best game he possibly can be. He possibly can. And so, really as a true freshman, a lot of people, kind of think with, him being a 5-star and making, millions of dollars in NIL that, he's – something different. But like my dad has said, when Peyton Manning first got to Tennessee, he wasn't Peyton Manning yet. And I think really, though, with his leadership style, he reminds me a lot of Hendon Hooker. He grabbed every single one of the offensive linemen before the Iowa game and said, hey, man, you got me tonight. You know what I mean? And so just really that whole leadership that he's brought in and commanding the huddle, especially as a true freshman, is really big of him. And I'm really excited about his future.
Yeah, you started that bowl game. He looked like he managed the game really well against a really good defense. We were talking about that going into it, like trying to maybe not curb the expectation level of what the Tennessee offense would look like against Iowa, but just so that people would understand what you guys were going up against. And I'm sure you could see that on film, but you guys played in lockstep with each other and played really well.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, they were definitely a tough opponent. I mean, we looked at every single defensive statistic that they had, and they were pretty much top 5 all across the board. I want to say they were, in at least the top 3 and yards allowed and running. And so we really made it a goal to be able to move the ball on them. A lot of schools hadn't been able to do it. I think, Michigan, who won the national championship, only had about 60 some odd yards against them, but we ended up rushing for 232, and that really speaks a lot to this, this group of offensive linemen we have. And then, also our running backs, Dylan Sampson and Cam Selden, and then also Nico ran the ball really well too. But to be able to put up that many rushing yards against that group is pretty special.
What about what's more difficult, the conditioning in the game that you're going to always do, or getting ready for that style of play? Because y'all running what is it? Less than 8 seconds. Heupel's offense. And the speed
and y'all went
of it.
faster in the bowl game than I remember.
Going this year
at various points of the season.
I will say Nico did a really good job of pushing the tempo. I will say though, I mean, just from the getting ready for it in practice, I mean, we harp a lot on our tempo. I mean, we have all these different rules for guys, receivers where they should get lined up and kind of seeing the signal on the sidelines and. Us being the offensive line, getting up to the ball, knowing where we have to get lined up at every single time. But I will say it is you do have to be pretty conditioned for it since we're going so fast. But as you've seen, it does work. And so we wouldn't really complain about it if it, we'd be complaining about it a lot if it didn't work. But no, it's been great. So
anytime come, like when you in the midst of the game, whether you're coming off, you're on the sideline or in the game, and you're looking at the defense, and you see one of them gas, and you're like, we got these guys. We got them, y'all. Pour it on.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Because you can tell, right?
Yeah.
Is it in the eyes or?
You can just see it on their face. I mean, a lot of guys, like, from playing Georgia and Vanderbilt and Iowa. I mean, you can tell how gassed they are, especially once we get the ball past the 50-yard line. And it really helps us too out as like offensive line, because usually what a lot of schools will do is that on third downs, like big time third downs, they'll get to sub in guys like on their D line who are fresh as offensive linemen. You get kind of scared about that a little bit, but with our tempo, it actually helps a ton because you're not going to always get the full speed rush because those guys are so gassed.
Yeah. Last one, the Alabama game last year. It was a play where I forgot, was it the left tackle or whoever it was that threw up before coming out of the huddle?
Oh, yeah.
Did y'all go back and watch that on film and like, hell yeah, that's what we talking about. Y'all like, hey, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, what was the response to that?
So, it's kind of funny a little bit about that guy, J.J. Crawford. He was one of our roommates for this past year. And, the story that he tries to tell everybody about that is that, at halftime, we used to have cold brew coffee. Mm-hmm. And so, you get a little bit of shot of that, try to get, up a little bit for the second half. But JJ had some with sugar in it. And he did not sit well with his stomach. A lot of guys doesn't really sit too well with their stomach, so it's since gotten out of the locker room during the games. But he goes and throws up, and he doesn't really say anything about it.
On the field, in between plays.
On the field. And, he didn't really say anything about it to us. And then all of a sudden I get on my phone after the game, and it's like, TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and everything. It's just JJ throwing up and staring at the guy, nodding at him.
He nodded at him like, yeah.
But if you know JJ, I mean, you could definitely see him doing that. It's pretty funny.
I would have lived that.
was
I would have had a hell of a
awesome.
story for that one right there, boy.
So, best locker room so far in your experience at Tennessee, was it the post-Alabama game?
It probably was.
Yeah.
It had to be post Alabama game and then post Florida again. That year too. It was pretty big. I mean, the whole Bama game experience was just so special.
Yeah.
Everybody getting to go and smoke cigars with each other, and the fans storm the field and they're trying to take pictures with you and smoke cigars with you, and then seeing them tear down the goalpost and tossing it to the Tennessee River. That was so special, and also playing Dixieland Delight against them too.
Yeah.
After the game, that was pretty cool as well.
Did you have a hard time getting off the field?
Oh yeah, it was just a sea of people. I was trying to find my dad the whole time, and my dad's about a 6'4", blonde hair guy, pretty big, and you can spot him out of a crowd pretty easy. But like when there's 100,000 people on the field, you can't find
Wearing
him.
the same colors. Yeah.
It was hard. It was hard.
I think it had to be as a fan that season, man, was pretty special. I was able to go down and see the LSU game at LSU. Dog, when I knew that team was going to be special when you were walking through the corridors and then you get into the concourse, getting ready to go to your seat. Everybody was chanting, like all the Vols fans. And I was like, dog, this feel like a home game. Like, it's not supposed to at LSU. It's not supposed to feel like this. Yeah. And y'all come out and blitz them. It was like, oh, boy. That seemed pretty cool, man. How was that locker room after that, though?
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, we had confidence heading into the game. We just didn't think we were going to beat them the way we did.
That was full throttle. Is what that was. I mean,
it was great. I mean, for the first play of the game, the kind of like right when the momentum, like all of it just shifted right into our favor was first play of the game. We have the kickoff, and it bounces up in the air. Will Brooks catches it. And we get the ball and go down and score. And so from then on, we kind of know, okay, we got these guys. And it actually quieted down Death Valley for the entire game, which was so much to our advantage. And just having all of our fans there, and it was great. I mean, they were louder than LSU fans, honestly.
Yep.
Jackson Lampley, through the whistle guy for sure, just announced that he will return to the University of Tennessee for his sixth season, and you're going to put out a statement, and we've been fortunate enough to read it phenomenally. I mean, just a great job there. So people can check you out at JM Lampley 75 on Twitter and Instagram. Jackson, congratulations on all of the success, man. Really appreciate you coming in to do this here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just so glad to be here. I grew up listening to this show every day after school.
There it is.
And just absolutely love this place. So, thank you guys so much for having me.
Full circle, baby.
Grew up
We
listening to
can't wait to watch you next season.
There he is. He's Jackson Lampley. Give him a follow at JM Lampley 75 on Instagram and Twitter, and you can see his heartfelt statement on why he's returning to Tennessee. When we come back, Rocky Boyman, former Titans linebacker, now does radio in Cincinnati. He's going to talk to us about Bengals offensive coordinator and Titans target Brian Callahan next on 3HL.